What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. We are out here at the farm today waiting on a special delivery. Now, I don't know when this special delivery of mine is going to be showing up, so I'm out here just kind of sprucing things up, cleaning, getting organized a bit, and trying to make this shop a little bit more usable. So one of the things I have to clean up here is this big old pan of oil that's been sitting here. Now, a lot of people ask where I get these pans at. They're just plastic mixing tubs. You can get these at any of the big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, and whatnot. Now, I've been using these big pans for oil changes for quite some time, and you know, they work. They hold oil. They're a pain to move is the biggest problem. They're too flexible. So, like right now, this thing is full to the point where it probably weighs 50 pounds, and there's no way to pick it up without that tray trying to flex on you, and you're just going to spill it and make a mess. What I end up doing half the time is I made a scoop out of another old jug, and you have to sit there and scoop it into a bucket or something to get it low enough to where you can go dump it into the barrel, and it's quite a pain. So I got this awesome new oil pan, and it's on wheels and everything, and it's all metal, and it's even got this nice screen on here so you can drain stuff like filters and funnels and whatever and just let it drip into the pan. And if that part wasn't cool enough, it has its own evacuation pump back here. How cool is that? So basically you just dump the oil in there, and when the thing gets full, I think this thing holds like 20 some gallons too. It's incredible how much this thing is going to hold. So whenever you want to dump it though, I have another hose that just quick connects right onto the end of that thing, and you plug it into the wall, and boom, it pumps all the oil straight into your waste oil barrel. So I haven't broke it in yet. Let's try this thing out. Obviously the wheels would work a lot better on this thing if I had some concrete out here, but that's all coming in the works, so don't you worry. So if I can dump this thing into here without spilling it, that's going to be the biggest trick here. And then now that I have this, I won't even use these plastic pans unless I'm working remote somewhere. Yep, this is heavy. Don't spill. All right. Nice. Yeah, I don't think I spilled. Doesn't look like I spilled anything. What a miracle. I got to give this thing some credit too. It actually rolls a lot better across these big rocks than I anticipated, and it's got enough baffles inside of the tank that the oil doesn't slosh around and, you know, slosh up out of there. This thing actually rolls far better on dirt than I ever imagined it would either. It's just like concrete, frozen dirt. So everyone asks me about my waste oil setup. This is pretty much it right now. I've got one of these 330 gallon IBC totes, which is just a big plastic bladder inside of a steel cage mounted on a pallet. So you can easily pick it up and fork it around. And then of course I got a nice big metal funnel here. But when you're lifting up a tray like we had before, that big plastic pan, and you're trying to dump it into this funnel, now the tray is awkward and flexing around on you. The funnel, as you can see, doesn't exactly stay in one place very easily. So it's really easy to spill, especially if the tray's full. And that's why there's pig mats here, but they've just become saturated and nasty, and I've replaced them 100 times. And then, you know, you got filters. You pile these in here, and you're letting them drain. And you know, you got to come back here with another tray full of oil or something. Now you got to pull the filters out of the way to dump your oil. So you end up with all these filters sitting here just draining into the pig mats. And then, you know, you got to change them when they get full. So I searched around and ended up coming up with an awesome solution for this, and I'm really excited about this. Check out this bad boy. Now that is a drain funnel. All right, so like I said, I'm genuinely excited about this. This is the biggest funnel I've ever seen, and the great thing is it's more than just a funnel. As you can see, it's got this mesh here, and this just lifts out and out of the way. So I can show you, it's got all these pleats and everything down here, and it all just drains right to the center and right down into the tote. So now it's a big drain pan, and all these filters, all your filters and everything. Look at that. How great is that? You got a funnel that's covered in oil and dripping. Just leave it up there, and look at this. There's still all this room to drain your oil into. This is the greatest thing ever. So I got this thing from the same company I got this oil drain pan from, and the link to them is in the description. We're gonna try out that oil pan right now. All right. I'm pretty curious to see how well this thing's gonna pump, because the pan is actually full of 90 weight oil. That's not like 1030 or something. So 90 weight, and it's like 29 degrees this morning. It's not exactly the flowing type of oil. Anyways, plug this guy in here and see what happens. Oh, you can hear it bog the pump down. Look at it traveling up the hose though. It's pushing it better than I imagined it would. Look at that. Perfect. I don't know if you guys can see down in there, there's a little pickup screen down there, so it actually should keep junk out of the pump pretty well. I am stoked about this. A few years ago, if you'd have told me that I was gonna get excited like this over an oil drain pan and a big funnel, I don't know what I'd have told you, but I wouldn't have believed you. It's these little things like this that you wouldn't really think would do it, but they make your life so much easier. It's like, how would I live without these things, you know? All right, well, a few minutes later, the pan has emptied itself down. Got the last little bit coming out of the hose here, and that's that. That excites me more than it should. Behind me, this big, beautiful, rusted behemoth is a 1980 Autocar. I'm just gonna call it the Constructor because I don't know the actual model. The model's a bunch of gibberish on the door. As many of you very well know, I have a 1957 Autocar DC-103 that I am in the process of restoring, and a lot of you guys have been sending me links to other trucks that I could maybe use as a parts truck for the one I'm restoring. And I'm still looking for a cab at this moment. I think I got one on the line, but anyway, that's another story. So I saw this truck floating around on Facebook Marketplace myself in my area for quite a while. And I kept telling myself, don't even look at that thing. You don't need another truck. And then so many of you emailing me, sending me this link saying, hey, check out this sweet Autocar. Yeah, I see it. I appreciate it. I don't need another truck. And then there was this lull where nobody sent it to me for a while. And I was like, that's good. Somebody bought it, somebody else can appreciate it. Great. Probably a month went by, and then somebody else sent me the link to this truck. And I said, nah, I'll message the guy. What's it hurt? So I messaged the guy and I said, what's the deal with the Autocar? And he said, oh, it's a pretty nice truck. Lived its whole life in a Consol Energy coal mine. Never really been driven on the road. Got 28,000 original miles on it. I said, come again? Yeah. I said, what's the body like? Not a speck of rust anywhere. Wow, that just changed the story a bit here. So I strolled over with my phone to Miss Eva and I said, hey, what do you think about that truck? She said, you should probably get that. I said, huh? Now I should go without saying that I've got a good wife to begin with. But when your wife tells you to go buy an Autocar, you go buy an Autocar. So it's actually been like a week since they dropped this truck off. I haven't got a chance to do anything with it really. There are a few things that we need to take care of before this thing will be road ready. A lot of you saw the teaser in the last video and said, oh, you found a cab for the old Autocar. No, we're gonna keep this truck. This is a cool truck. So one of the really cool features of this truck is this big Braden winch back here. I do not know how many tons this thing is rated for, but that looks like at least 3/4 inch cable, maybe 7/8. So that's a PTO driven winch. That thing's awesome. The cab, I think this is aluminum. I'm pretty sure this cab's aluminum. So there is no rot to speak of at all. This thing is spotless. But even the frame down here, I don't know if you guys can see, is pretty well spotless. Back here we have a double frame, so there's two frame rails sandwiched together. No rust jacking between those that I can see. I think the worst of the rust is down there directly under the winch, and it doesn't look too bad really. I don't know what they did with this truck, but it is packed full of like road gravel. Looks like they probably just drove it around a mucky parking lot quite a bit and flung all sorts of junk all over itself. So we need to give it a good pressure wash really and get that crap out of there, but that really doesn't look to have affected the integrity of the frame at all. We do have this scabbed on section of frame back here. There was no fifth wheel that came with this truck originally. I guess they had a flatbed on it, and I imagine they probably had a tail roller on the flatbed for pulling stuff up onto the bed of the truck there. These tires that are on the rear ends here are actually really nice tires, a lot of tread left in them. It's a shame they're pretty dry rotted. I'm not sure that they're going to pass an inspection. A couple of them, like this one here, heck, this one looks brand new. That thing's got all kind of tread left on it. The guy that I bought this from, Dying Breed Diesels in Lisbon, Ohio, super nice guy, and basically he just goes around and finds old trucks like this and saves them and markets them to people like me that think that they're worth dumping some money into and keeping on the road. But anyways, this truck didn't have a fifth wheel, so he pulled this off of a truck that he was parting out, and threw this in with the sail, so that was really cool of him. This is a nice sliding fifth wheel too, air actuated. So once this thing's hooked up, we'll be able to just flip a switch in the cab and should be able to slide the fifth wheel around. So that's pretty cool. I think this is the specs on this winch here. I see MS 30 and then a 20B over there and then an L there. I don't know what the rest of that stuff is. If you guys know anything about Braden winches, let me know. So the battery box is not in the best shape. It's had some better days behind it. It's got, you know, the obligatory moss there, and the cover's missing. I do have the hold downs in the truck there, but as you can see, it's all rust jacked apart and ballooned out there. The steps bent. Look at that though. Doors are perfect. This has got a little bit of surface rust on it, so that must be steel. I really don't know, but no rust anywhere else really. This thing is beautiful. It's going to be a shame that I don't have a place to keep it out of the weather right now, but we're going to be working on that very soon. The interior on this side is pretty good. All the roof liner and stuff's not too bad. The back there all looks good. This thing won't stay up. Well, of course it does now. This thing won't stay up for nothing. Big old air cleaner sticking on the side here. And this bumper, oh man, that was a big selling feature for me. That bumper is tough. And let me tell you how nice it is to just be able to climb up on the truck and walk right up onto your fenders. That's beautiful. Under the hood here, what do we got? Well, the ID tag is actually off of the engine here, but according to the door tag, an NTC 855 Cummins 230 horse. And this baby purrs like a kitten. Usually these things are dripping oil everywhere at this point in their lives. They might still run good, but they're usually pretty wet engines. This guy is very dry. All this oil up here that you see, I believe has just been from being spilled over the years. People putting it in there and running it all over the place, and the dust and the dirt accumulates to it and sticks to it, and that's what you got. So we got a Cummins. That's awesome. Everybody loves an 855 Cummins. It's regarded as probably one of the best engines ever produced. Super simple, super reliable. Some little stuff's wrong, like the step here is bent. We can easily straighten that out. Only have one fuel tank on this side. Looks to be about a 60 gallon maybe. Now, I don't know what animal got in here and ate the driver's seat, but the driver's seat's pretty well pooched. We're gonna have to be getting another one of those, but there's a really nice one in that parts truck I have up front, so we might be going that route. Here's a look at the door tag for all those interested. Yeah, it is a model C9364B. And there we go, it says NTC 230. And the rear ends in this thing are 38,000 pounds, and they are SQHDs. Steering wheel's a little cracked up, but definitely usable. Not too bad. I've seen worse. Odometer reads 26,532 miles. I am told that that is supposed to be original miles. Of course, I have no way to verify this, but looking at everything on this truck, you know, the wear on the pedals, I believe it. Fully believe it. There is not excessive wear on anything. You know, if a truck has a lot of miles from over the years of pushing on the clutch, you'll actually see the metal on the pedal worn down, and we just don't see that here. So back behind the Cummins, we have a Eaton Fuller 5LL transmission. It's a bit of a goofy pattern for me. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but basically we're in neutral right here. I'd love to show you the dash sticker, but it's a little hard to make out right now. So you got neutral, over and back is second, through second and up is first, and you do the same thing with reverse here. So from neutral you go over and up to reverse, and then you can go through reverse and up to low. So yeah, it's a little confusing. And then also over here they got, so it should be, on a normal transmission it would be second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, but they actually have this backwards, and it's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So that'll take a little bit to get used to as well. Down here to my right we have the controls for the winch. This should be the PTO in and out, and I'm not positive what these do. One of them should be a brake, one of them should be line in and out. So I have not messed with any of that yet. That's something we're going to get into here before too long. All right, let's go ahead and try and fire this pig up. It's about 33 degrees I think right now. It's on the cold side. It was like 27 this morning when I got up. No glow plugs, no grid heater. We're just gonna see if she'll make it. It's only got 2 batteries on it and it should have 4, so that's not helping our cause. It does have a couple pretty good air leaks that we have to get resolved before we can really drive it effectively, but we can drive it a little bit even with the air leaks. All right, let's see what she'll do. Contact. So the battery's not really liking this. We'll put an extra one on it and see what that does. Take 2. It's going to go, it just takes right off. It really, a lot of diesels when they first start, when they're really cold like this, you'll hear them, they'll catch on one cylinder and then another one, and they might sit there and run on those 1 or 2 cylinders for a second before the other ones chime in. This one here, when it took off, it seemed like all of them picked right up, so that's a good sign. Probably a very tight engine still. I believe the mileage that's on the odometer. Oh yeah. Looks like we could use some exhaust repair down here. So I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from now, but when I started it, there was actually a little bit of smoke came right up through the cab here. So that's not good. What a beast. Yeah, so you can, I don't know if you guys can see it, there's actually a bit of an exhaust haze in the cab. That seems like something we should probably fix. So Of course, we got the air warning coming at us. That's good. Low air pressure. Looks like we're charging our batteries. Got 85 pounds of oil pressure. Air pressure's coming up. Fuel gauge doesn't look like it works. Not pulling any suction on the air filters. Yeah, she's starting to smooth out a little bit now, so I'm going to go ahead and give it some throttle here. Yeah, let her sit right there around 1,000 RPM. Let her get warmed up, and then we'll see what we can do with this baby. You think it'd be kind of cool if I built like a weightlifting rack right here or something, and maybe just kind of like cable system where you could just really just work on your arms all day while you're driving, huh? Some of you guys will get that reference. Oh, that sound is glorious. Alright, it's been sitting here running for 10-15 minutes or so. Looks like we cracked the thermostat open. We're reading about 100 degrees in the gauge there. Shove the idle back down. Yeah, I think we're probably ready to take this thing for a little spin around the farm. Now, it does have an air leak here. When you release the park brake here, there's a big air leak going on in behind the dash here. I'm not sure what the deal is yet. I haven't pulled it out. Basically, I got to find my gear first and then release the brake. So as soon as I can move, I keep the RPMs up and keep some air in the tanks, because I mean, you can just watch the gauge plummet. So it's got a big leak in behind the dash here somewhere, and then I hear a couple small leaks outside here. So these air hoses back here are pretty dry rotted. This guy here specifically leaks pretty good. And then I can't remember what you call these valves. I think it's like a air proportioning valve, and it's leaking right now. You can hear it's probably just got some rust or a rip in the diaphragm or something. I don't know, but we can take that apart, check it out, and replace it if necessary, or rebuild it. I'd rather rebuild it. It's probably original. Before we drive too far though, that plate obviously is just sitting on there, so I want to take this thing back by the equipment shed and lift that thing off and put it somewhere safe so it doesn't fall off or get into my tires or something stupid. I don't know if you guys can hear that air leak, but it's hissing up here pretty good, and I can watch the air gauge drop. While I'm keeping it in low gear, keep the RPMs up, have a fighting chance to get down here without the brakes locking on us. Our fifth wheel plate hasn't fallen off yet either. Look at that. Beautiful turning radius. Oh man. I love this truck. So this piece of frame that was scabbed on at some point in this truck's life, we're going to go ahead and whack that off right here where it's tied into the original frame. And then I'm not sure if we're going to put a pintle plate on this thing or not, but we're definitely going to put some mud flaps and some taillights to make it legal. We'll mount the fifth wheel plate and pretty much just tidy this girl up. Obviously we'll do a complete service to it. Probably going to have to replace the steer tires and some other odds and ends, but I just want to basically make this truck ready to go down the road. It's not going to get a paint job for quite some time. That's kind of far back on the list, but it's all here. It's a nice truck with low mileage on it, and I just want to keep this guy for tugging around some of my bigger iron. Well, the battery's about to die on the camera, but I think the truck might be too. It did a little bit of a weird idle thing when I first started it. It was like I had it set to 1,000 and it would drop down to like 600 and then go back up to 1,000. And now I know for sure what it is. I just tried to get on the throttle a little bit and this thing like sputtered out under load to the point where it barely didn't make it. So I'm pretty sure we got some water in the fuel system somewhere. The fuel filter on the side of the truck there looks like it's got to be 10-15 years old at least. So we're gonna have to replace that. We'll do a complete service on this truck obviously before we put her on the road, but it's gonna need a few things for sure. Let's see if we can't give it another go here. Second. Oh yeah, we're going now. Needs a fuel filter. Alright, I had to bring the truck down here and just mock it up to see what it's going to look like when I'm pulling this Lowboy trailer. And I gotta say, if you're into trucks, this is a cool setup. So this is my 1964, I believe it's a 64, Army Lowboy trailer. I bought it at an auction a couple years ago. And I bought it for the other Autocar to pull. But actually after I got it, I realized that this trailer is probably a little bit heavy for that other truck, and it's not actually the dream trailer that I wanted anyways. I'd really like to find an early Rogers curved neck Lowboy, very similar to this, but this isn't quite it. So I don't know that I'll ever find one of those trailers, but this trailer was a close enough specimen that I was happy with it. Plus it's functional. I can really use this thing. This is a 25-ton trailer. So yeah, it's just it could be very functional. I could haul my dozer with this, no problem at all. But the other truck is probably spec'd a bit light to be pulling that. This truck should have no problem pulling that dozer with the trailer. This thing should be geared just right. That winch is awesome. Everything about this is really hyping me up. I think this is gonna be sweet. Of course, I got this little extra piece of frame here, so it's not a great representation of what this is gonna look like. I'd be able to back under there another 2-3 feet probably. It's gonna be sweet. You know it'll look really cool behind this thing too? My old unit drag line loaded up on here. I think that would look sweet. I can probably park the unit right there. I might even be able to rig it up so I can leave the boom on it and extend out over the front of the truck. That will be sweet. I'm getting so excited just working this stuff out in my head. How cool would it be to actually be able to transport the drag line and go do pawn jobs with it? That'd be fantastic. So there it is. That is going to be the new pulling rig for the farm here and for pulling my equipment around and whatnot. This video is mainly just to introduce this truck and kind of assess some of the things that we need to work on before we can put it on the road here. So like I said, we're going to whack off that frame, mount the fifth wheel. We'll have to go through, check some brakes out at least, make sure we're good to go there. Fix some air leaks. The winch, that's probably a whole video unto itself. The brake band's just sitting on there. Cables, no doubt junk. I mean, you can see it's not looking good. And it has its own set of fluids that need changed, as well as the PTO that runs it. There's a big drive chain down here that runs the actual worm drive in the winch. It looks like it could use about 7 gallons of Croil. Definitely going to have to get a fluid. Definitely going to have to do a complete fluid service on the truck. The fuel, I believe, has a little bit of water in it because this thing was kind of acting a little weird, kind of acting like it had some water in it. So, filters, check all the power steering stuff while we're here. The louvers are stuck, which is very common on the, oh, they're not stuck. Never mind. Look at that. All right, so these louvers are supposed to close when the truck's cold. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, yeah, that takes some pressure. There's supposed to be a little pneumatic cylinder here at the end of this line, and that pushes on this guy. So whenever the truck is cold, the louvers are supposed to be shut. And as the truck needs some cooler air to keep it cool, those louvers are supposed to open and allow the radiator to cool more. So that's something I would like to fix. Of course, we'll go through our air filter, change all our oils. We'll look at a battery box cover, maybe make one of those or something. Exhaust, we're going to replace this elbow, but the rest of the exhaust looks pretty good. Stack, the bracket that holds it on there is bent, as well as the top of the stack, so we'll get a new piece for that. Then of course we have all the lights, marker lights and cab lights that don't work. The headlights do work, but I'm not sure that the high beams do. We've got no tail lights, so we'll definitely have to make some tail light brackets, mount some tail lights, make some mud flap brackets, mount some mud flaps. And then I think she might be ready to go down the road. So I do want to say a big thank you to all the guys that pestered me and showed me this truck. Look what I bought, guys. I'm happy with it. I think it's going to be a great addition to the fleet around here. And hopefully we'll be able to take some of the bigger iron and do some more jobs here this coming summer. So I guess that's going to wrap this one up, guys. If you like this truck, don't forget, hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. It doesn't cost you guys a thing. If you're not already, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed so you can see this bad boy towing that Lowboy trailer down the road. But that's it for me. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Later.